Hello, team players. Okay, hello, team players. Welcome to my first real stream. So, today we are talking about Rival Academies, the brand new book. Let's just get right into this. Starting with Reclamation Wizards. Now, I haven't looked quite... I've looked into some of this, but most of it I haven't even looked at. But we do want to start with Reclamation Wizards, as it does look like there is quite a bit of... There's at least 2 new wizard schools, so it looks like the cantrips are Telekinetic Hand, Telekinetic Projectile, Fleet Step, Gust of Wind, Mending, Knock, Mental Map. That's a new spell, looks like. Locate, Overwhelming Memory, another new spell. Bridge of Vines, Stone Shape, Mind Probe, Scouting Eye, True Sight, Wall of Force, Restore Ground, Retrocognition, Pinpoint, Unrelenting Observation, and Metamorphosis. And the school spells are Grasping Vine and Unsettling Knowledge. Let's look at Grasping Vine. A thick curling vine erupts from the ground beneath you and stretches to the target, allowing you to move it around. If the target is an item, you can move it 10 feet in any direction within range. When you cast the spell and the first time you sustain it each round... Oh, okay, I see. You can move it 10 feet in any direction when that happens. If the target is a creature, it must make a reflex save. On a critical success, of course, nothing happens, and the spell ends. On a success, the target is grabbed until the end of your next turn, or until it escapes, or destroys the vine, at which point the spell ends. It looks like the escape DC is equal to my spell DC, and the vine has AC 15 and 10 hit points. On a failure, the target is grabbed until it escapes or destroys the vine, at which point the spell ends. The first time each round you sustain this spell, you can reposition the grabbed target up to 5 feet. Has failure, but you can reposition them 10 feet. Okay. Still nobody in chat yet, but that's okay. Let's move on to Unsettling Knowledge. You share a piece of hidden knowledge with a creature that is both upsetting and intriguing. When you cast this spell, choose Arcana, Nature, Occultism, Religion, or Society as the focus of this knowledge. The target must attempt a will save. The target is fascinated by the knowledge you shared for 1 round on a success. On a failure, they're fascinated for 1 minute. They're going to end this fascination early by attempting a skill check to recall knowledge to understand the knowledge using the chosen skill. Using your spell DC as the DC, Regardless of the result, the target becomes frightened too, but if they fail the check, they can't reduce their frightened condition below 1 for the remainder of the spell's duration. As failure, but the target becomes frightened 3 if they attempt to recall knowledge. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this one. Fascinated is not a good condition. But if you can get them to try that recall knowledge, then it's useful. I know. I took insulin, Dad.
I'm going to the bank.
Okay. All right. Oh, jeez. 1 second, guys. This should be... Oh, sorry, guys. There we go. That's a lot better. Okay. Okay, bridge of vines. Vines sprout beneath your feet and extend away from you in a straight line up to 60 feet, forming a 10-foot wide bridge that can cross over difficult terrain and low obstacles, as well as reach higher ground. The bridge has AC equal to your spell DC, hardness 10, and 20 hit points. It's immune to critical hits and precision damage. The bridge lasts either the duration of the spell until it's destroyed, or until you dismiss the spell. Okay. When the spell is active, you and your allies can use the bridge normally. If any other creature attempts to use the bridge, the vines attempt to trip and entangle them. They must attempt a reflex save against your spell DC. Critical success, of course, nothing happens. On a success, the target treats the length of the bridge as difficult terrain. Success, the target is on a failure, they're also knocked prone. On a critical failure, they're knocked prone and grabbed until the spell ends. Until it escapes or the spell ends. And it heightens really well. Yeah. Heighten +1. Bridge's hit points increase by 10. Yeah, this one's good. I can see using this to get higher ground for ranged attacks. And it's a 4th rank spell? That's not bad. It's on the Arcane and the Primal list. Okay, cool. Mental Map. Alright, let's look at Mental Map. Still nobody in the chat. That's fine. It's a touch spell for one creature, and it lasts for 24 hours and it requires a will save. You glean information about a specific place visited by a creature directly from its mind, unless it fends you off with a will save. The target can choose to fail the save. On a success, nothing happens. On a failure, you gain critical information about the place in question, granting a +2 bonus to survival checks while in the location, and to any skill checks to recall knowledge about the location for the next 24 hours. On a critical failure, you get all that, and you get to erase all knowledge of the location from the target for 24 hours if desired. Huh. Interesting. This could be useful outside of combat, but otherwise not that useful. Overwhelming Memory, 3rd rank spell. 1 creature, 30 feet, will save, sustained up to 1 minute. You cause the target to recall a specific type of memory you choose from the list below, bringing it to the forefront of their mind with perfect clarity. Gleeful. The memory makes the target laugh uncontrollably. They can't use reactions. Romantic. The creature is consumed with their love for another. They are fascinated by the memory. Terrifying. The creature is filled with terror and is frightened. 1. Tragic. The creature is overwhelmed with sorrow. They are dazzled from the tears in their eyes. The target must make a will save. Critical success, nothing happens. Success, they're affected until the beginning of your next turn. On a failure, they're also stupefied 2. On a critical failure, they're stupefied 3. Not bad against spellcasters, actually. Really not bad against spellcasters. Yeah. Okay. That's actually pretty useful against spellcasters. Although the only problem is that the frightened doesn't stack with the stupefied. But that's okay. Alright, restore ground. You sense that this place yearns to throw off the shackles of civilization. You attempt to restore the area with a burst to a natural state, removing all artificial objects and buildings and encouraging the growth of plants on the ground that remains. Creatures are unaffected unless caught in a structural collapse. Ground. All ground in the area becomes difficult terrain for 1 round. Objects. Any unattended object of 4 or less is destroyed, regardless of hardness, unless it's an artifact or similarly hard to destroy. Plants. Plants in the area become healthier and more fruitful for 1 year. Structures. Structures within range are shaken and may collapse as if by earthquake. As if by the earthquake spell. Okay. That's not bad. The only one that's useful here in combat is the structures one and the ground one, because greater difficult terrain can be a lot. Mimic spell. A creature you're aware of within range casts a spell of the same tradition as mimic spell, and of the same or lower rank. You learn the secrets of the spell just by watching someone else cast it. Attempt to counteract the spell cast by the triggering creature. If the spell would be counteracted, you instead gain the ability to cast that spell without expending a spell slot. On your turn, you spend the same number of actions to cast the spell as the triggering creature, but you choose the targets and use your spell attack modifier or spell DC as appropriate. The spell is heightened to the same rank as Mimic Spell. The Mimic Spell is of the same tradition as the spells you normally cast. If you don't cast the spell mimicked by the spell at the end of the turn, it is lost unless you sustain the knowledge of it. You can sustain this knowledge for up to 1 minute, after which it's lost. Okay. Alright, so that means... Okay, and it's an arcane and occult spell. So that means that, oh my god, this gives wizards access to bard spells. That's kind of insane, actually. I can see why this is rare. And it gives occult casters, and vice versa. Yeah. It also gives the bonus to... It also gives occult casters access to arcane spells. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I do like this one. I can tell why it's rare. Yeah. Okay, Campfire Chronicler. Alright, let's take a look here. You've gained Rayleigh's attention and can now offer stories to him, either passing on your own stories or collecting those of travelers as he did. You become trained in religion and survival. For either of these skills in which you were already trained, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. You share a story of your travelers within 30 feet. To a creature within... You share a story of your travels with a creature within 30 feet. You gain the blessing of Israeli as a +1 status bonus to AC and will saves until the end of your next turn. On their next turn, the creature you shared a story with can take a single action, which has the auditory, concentrate, linguistics, and mental traits, to respond with their own story to gain the same benefits until the end of the following turn. Okay. That's interesting. The Dead Tell Tales. New Campfire Chroniclers, inundated with the stories of ghosts. Below, I have no idea how to pronounce that. The lessons learned there. And the lessons learned there. You have resistance equal to your level to spirit and void damage caused by haunt, spirits, or incorporeal undead. The first time you take damage from a haunt or spirit, you learn the general story of its origin, such as the type of tragedy that caused the ghost to linger, or what the spirit represents. Interesting. It could be useful in certain campaigns, but Israeli has given you a gift to assist you on your journey. You gain the domain initiative feat for the domain of fire, knowledge, protection, or travel. You can refocus by spending 10 minutes telling stories of your travels or listening to other stories of theirs. You gain trained proficiency rank in spell attack modifier and spell DC, increasing to expert at 11th level. And you can select it multiple times, choosing a different domain each time, and gaining its domain spell. Yeah, okay. Knowledge and protection are really good domains. I haven't looked too much into travel, and fire is just, well, fire damage. So, yeah. But pretty good if you pick knowledge or protection as your domain. When you offer a story about wild chances and fighting against all odds, you can wrap yourself in spectral flame in place of normal benefits. The action gains the fire trait. Your melee strikes deal, for the duration, deal 2 additional fire damage. The creature you share with this a story with can choose this benefit even if you did not. The fire damage increases to 4 if you're master in religion and 6 if you're legendary. Okay, that's Raging Stories. Could be good for hitting enemy weaknesses, but otherwise, the good thing is that it looks like your allies can pick this even if you didn't, and you can still do the normal version of the offer story. Cozy campfire. You spend 1 hour building a campfire in a single unoccupied square, and whispering the stories of those you met on your journeys. The campfire sheds bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for the next 30 feet. The campfire can't be put out or get larger through mundane means. It instead burns out after your daily preparations or when you use this ability again. The first time each round a creature within the campfire's light performs an action with the attack trait, they must attempt a will save against your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. This is a divine curse effect, and you are aware of any attempt, although other creatures in the area are not. The creature is aware of the effect on a critical success. The creature is aware of the effect and can choose to disrupt their action. If they don't disrupt it, the campfire goes out. On a success, the creature is aware of the effect and can choose to disrupt their action. If they don't disrupt it, they become temporarily immune to the campfire's effects for 24 hours. On a failure, the creature takes a -2 status penalty to the attack's action to the attack action's attack roll, and to all other attack rolls until the beginning of their next turn. The action is disrupted on a critical failure, and the creature takes a -2 penalty to attack rolls until the beginning of their next turn. This is really good to put up when you're this is really good to put up like when you're when you're sleeping. Yeah, just if the enemy decides to attack you while you're sleeping, this is a good way to debuff them. But this does work on your allies, so you do have to be careful with this. Okay, illuminating stories. Stories serve as beacons in the night, illuminating valuable knowledge, even if the tale itself misses the mark. When you offer a story about any topic, you can choose that illumination instead of the normal benefits of offer a story. You receive a +1 status bonus to checks to recall knowledge for the duration, and can recall knowledge about the topic of the story as a free action. The creature you share a story with can choose this benefit even if you did not. The bonus increases to +2 if you're a master in religion, and +3 if you're legendary. Okay, this is pretty good, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It seems like if you can come up with a story that is actually relevant, then yeah, this is great. Relevant to the situation you're in, but otherwise not that useful. All right, moving on. Flickering stories. When you offer a story, you become concealed by shifting shadows for the duration instead of the normal benefits. You can't use this. The action gains the shadow trait. You can't use the concealment to hide, as normal for concealing effects that leave your location obvious. The creature you share this story with can choose this benefit even if you did not. Good if you got a rogue in the party. But you can't use it to hide. Yeah, you can't use it to hide. Which means it's not that great for rogues, but this is a 25% your damage is gone. So that's pretty good. If they're like a brute or a soldier. Yeah. Tales of the Road. When attempting a check to recall knowledge about a city you visited, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus and use the associated lore skill with your level as your proficiency bonus, even if you're untrained. That's useful. That is actually very useful. I like that a lot. Stories of Home. You share the joy of every story of the long-awaited homecoming you offer to Israeli. You can spend 10 minutes sharing the story with your allies within 30 feet. You and those allies regain hit points equal to their constitution modifier times their level, and recover from the doom, drain, and fatigue condition as though they had a full night's rest. Though they gain no other benefits associated with having a full night's rest. So you don't get spells back. But doom, drain, and fatigued, it's a good way to heal, but those particular conditions aren't that common, to be honest. Yeah, they're really not. It's, yeah. It's good, it's just not great. And it's a once per day thing, so, yeah. Alright. Let's keep going. Advisory, rivalries, Echo repository. I'm not going to go over these items. Recall Legacy. It's a rare spell. It's arcane in occult. Touch spell, one willing creature until the target's next daily preparations. You establish a mental link with the target, focusing on a piece of knowledge important to their culture, family, by birth of choice, or home settlement. Both you and the target must be aware this knowledge exists, even if you don't know the exact details. As your magic connects them to this legacy, the target gains a non-lineage ancestry feat from their ancestry. The feat must be of a level no higher than twice Recall Legacy's rank, and the target must meet any prerequisites for the feat. The target is then immune to any further castings of Recall Legacy until their next daily preparations. Wait, does that... I'm a little confused on this one. Do they only get the ancestry feat until their next daily preparations? Or is it... Or it's just that they're immune to... You can't get another ancestry... I think it'd be too broken if they get it permanently. Yeah, I think this is just until daily preparations. It'd be too broken. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell why it's rare, but it's just until daily preparations. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to go items in this stream. We got a new rich patron. Kobe Solarny? Let's see. It's the cult patron. You gain information overload and deja vu. Familiar of insightful observation. Your familiar boasts a third eye upon its head or body, resembling one set of their forehead. When you cast or sustain a hex, your familiar can attempt to recall knowledge as a free action with any skill in which you are trained or better, using your bonus and physically and psychically transmit the information to you. Huh. That's interesting. So you get a hex and you get a recall knowledge. That's actually pretty good. Yeah. Information overload. The target's thought will flood with irrelevant and confusing information, causing it to become stupefied 1 if it fails to will save, or stupefied 2 on a critical failure. Not bad against spellcasters, but otherwise pretty situational. But I do like the familiar ability on this. Calligraphy Worm Familiars. Huh. Affiliated with that patron or the Pathfinder Society. You need 6 familiar abilities: Dark Vision, Flyer, Manual Dexterity, Sense, Skilled, Speech. The worm splatters ink in a 10-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a reflex save with a DC equal to its master's spell DC or class DC, whichever is higher. Critical success, nothing happens. On a success, if the creature was invisible, it is concealed instead for 2 rounds. And on a failure, if they're invisible, they're concealed for 1 minute instead. Critical failure is as success, but for 10 minutes. The creature is also blinded for 1 round, or until it wipes the ink from its eyes using an interact action. And it can use its claw as a pen without having to purchase ink. Interesting. Mocking Fae familiars. I do like the ink thing, but I don't know. It's not something that's going to be good for all characters. That's for sure. Mocking Fae. Okay. Requires 4 familiar abilities: Flyer, Independent, and Speech. The Mocking Fae takes on an imperfect illusory appearance of a creature it can see within 60 feet, pantomiming their mannerisms in derisive fashion. This illusion doesn't make the Mocking Fae look any larger and lasts until the end of your next turn. A creature must attempt a will save against your class DC or spell DC, whichever is higher. Regardless of the result, the creature is temporarily immune for 1 minute. Success, nothing happens. On a failure, they're off guard until the start of your next turn. And on a critical failure, they're off guard until the end of your next turn. Okay. Interesting. This one's pretty good. Lesson of Memory. You gain unravel knowledge and hypercognition. Unravel knowledge. Your patron reaches into the target's mind, plucking out their past training like pulling a thread from a cloth. Choose a single action, activity, or spell you know the target can use, such as seeing it previously or identifying the creature's capabilities with a recall knowledge check. You could select, for example, the strike action, the disarm action, a dragon's breath, or the haste spell if you were aware the target could use them. The target attempts a will save. Success, nothing happens. Failure. The first time they use the chosen ability each round, they take 3d8 mental damage. This ability is less effective if you choose an ability that almost anyone could use. The target takes 3d4 mental damage instead if you choose a basic action, such as strike, stride, or raise a shield, or a skill action that can be used untrained, such as demoralize or hide. On a critical failure, the target takes a -2 status penalty to any check or DC for the ability the first time they use it each round. And it heightens well, too. It goes up by 1d8 or 1d4 every time you heighten it by 1 rank. Pretty good, yeah. I like this a lot. Especially if there's an action that is really like using this on a Dragon's Breath weapon could be very useful. Words, lesson of vows. You gain censure falsehoods and ring of truth. Let's see. You call on your patron to reprimand a creature that has attempted a deception or stealth check against you or an ally within the past month. You must be aware they did so. When the target speaks, toad and serpents fall from their lips. The target must attempt a fortitude saving throw. The spell lasts as long as the target remains sickened by it. On a critical success, a few animals fall from the lips, but they're otherwise unaffected. On a success, they're sickened 1. On a failure, they're sickened 2. And if they perform an action that has the auditory trait or attempt to cast a spell, they must succeed in DC 5 flat check, or the action is disrupted as they choke on an animal. On a critical failure, if the target attempts a deception or stealth check, their sickened value increases by 1 to a maximum of sickened 4. This one is really good. I like this one a lot. Yeah. You know how few things actually cause a sickened condition? It's freaking nuts. I mean, granted, it is fortitude, and a lot of things have high fortitude saves, but even if the target is not a spellcaster, or even if they don't use spells or use auditory trait actions, it's still sickened 1. Granted, they have to be good at deception or stealth to be able to use this, but it's kind of situational, but when it comes up, it's awesome. Yeah. I definitely recommend this one. Pact Binder. Okay, this is stuff you can add to the Pact Binder dedication, which is in Dark Archive. You gain Entangling Pact of Holder's Renewal. You can cast Entangling Flora as a primal innate spell once per day. After the spell ends, the flowers and vines become mundane plants that can continue surviving if the natural environment can support them. They're no longer difficult terrain, but don't have the other effects of the spell. Fiends that fail a save against this spell or another plant spell you cast become sickened 1 in addition to the normal effects. In exchange for this boon, Zen Mighty requires that you never knowingly aid demons or their allies, nor despoil a natural environment. If you do either, you lose the benefits of this feat until you atone. If you comment on his bovine tails or imply holders are connected to trolls, then Mighty revokes the benefits of this fee for 1 week or until you sincerely apologize. Ouroboros Pact. Yeah, this one is good too. I like this one a lot. Ouroboros Pact. You studied or learned under someone who has, and understand them to not only create a bargain between individuals, but a separate entity altogether, the pact itself. You gain the Entreat Pact action, which you can use in association with any pact from the Pactbinder archetype. For example, if you have Pact of Draconic Fury, you can Entreat Pact to aid in skill checks to obtain an item the dragon desires. You attempt a skill check related to the conditions of the pact once per hour. It's a free action. You call upon occult energies powering your pact to help you fulfill your promise. Roll twice on the triggering check and take the better results. The pact continually enforce themselves in a circular magical loop. You lose the ability to retrain out of any feats from the Pactbinder archetype. Okay. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. That's fantastic. All right, guys. I need to go to the restroom, but I will be right back. Okay, so you can hear me. That's fantastic. So basically, if you take this Ouroboros Pact, you're stuck with your feats from the Pact-Binder archetype, which is okay. I mean, you just got to be careful about which Pact-Binder feat you take if you're going to take this. But otherwise, this is pretty great. Just roll twice on your packs. That's pretty awesome. Let me know when you get back. Pact of the Night Blossom. You've sworn a pact with Genway Night Blossom of the Synod of Truth and Dreams, a talented Oneromancer and Pact Binder. Through your connection to her, you're able to divine your dreams for wisdom, and they're protected from interference. You're immune to nightmare. During your daily preparations, if you slept and were able to dream, you learn a helpful piece of information, a helpful piece of advice about your future activities, as read omens. As payment, she establishes a permanent telepathic connection to you that functions whenever you dream or whenever you sleep or dream. Whenever you learn something significant, Genway learns it the next time you sleep. You can withhold information, but you lose the benefits of Pact of the Night Blossom until you relent and allow Genway to learn it. Interesting. So, okay. Read Omens is a decent spell. This could be useful, yes. Depending on... Yeah. I need to look and see what Read Omens actually does. Okay. So it could definitely be useful. Yeah. It could definitely be useful. Oh, but yeah, let me know when you get back, Zarquan. Anyway, Path of the Crossroads. You've sworn a pact with NG the Hooded, the eldest known as the Lord of the Crossroads, though your only sign of NG's acknowledgement is the benefits you receive. Anyone tracking you must succeed at a survival check against the higher of your class DC or spell DC. Creatures attempting to remember your features after the first time meeting you must succeed at a will save against the same DC. If they fail, they recall the meetings, but none of your features. In exchange, you must continue your wanderings, never settling in one place for longer than 1 month, or you lose the benefits of this feat until you begin travels again. If you ever willingly tell anyone you've formed a pact with NG, You lose the benefits of this feat permanently, though you can share vague information about the pack's effects. Interesting. So you can tell them about the pack's effects, but if you tell anyone that you made a pact with NG, you lose it forever. It's more of an out of combat thing, but it could be useful. It's pretty high level, though. That's the problem. Alright, let's look at Pact of the Death Hunter. You gain imprecise death sense that can detect undead creatures up to 60 feet away. Additionally, whenever an undead creature is destroyed within 60 feet, and you gain temporary hit points equal to its level that lasts for 1 minute. In exchange, the Psychopomp requires that you never aid in the creation or conquest of an undead creature. You must also seek out and put to rest any mindless or destructive undead that you come across. This one is another good one. I mean, it only works on undead, but at least if you're running into a lot of undead, you want to take this. But otherwise, you're probably better off taking a different pact. Okay, Pact of Fey Paths. You gain the Fey Jump ability. In exchange, you can no longer see the moon or stars as the Fey steals those wonders from your eyes, and you must gaze at an empty sky for at least 10 minutes each night. If you do not, the Fey revokes your benefits for the next day. If you go a week without gazing, the Fey revokes your benefits until you atone. Okay. One action once per hour. You jump through the first world for a brief second, teleporting up to 60 feet away to an empty space you can see. If another creature with you, even if you're carrying it in an extra dimensional container, the action is lost. So it allows you to teleport 60 feet once per hour. It's actually not bad. You can use this for a lot, actually. Yeah. And I mean, the benefits, and I mean, what you have to do is not actually that bad. You just have to say you're doing it, basically. Yeah, it's not bad. It's more of a role play thing. Okay. Yeah. Pact of the Rune Dragon. You immediately learn 10 languages chosen from common languages. Uncommon languages, or any others the dragon has access to. Additionally, you can identify magic at a range of 30 feet as a single action ability with the concentrate trait. In exchange, the Rune Dragon requires you to research a topic and send a detailed report each year. Year to year, the dragon may change the interest of your research as they see fit. If you fail to send an appropriately detailed report, you lose this ability unless you spend 1 week serving the dragon. This would be like a really good roleplay thing for a wizard. Yeah. Just send them a detailed report. Yeah. And it does depend on what... It does depend on what the dragon wants you to research, but yeah. It's a yearly thing, so it is really more of a roleplay thing. Yeah, a lot of these exchanges are just roleplay things that just you can just do. You can just say you do. I mean, granted, some GMs are going to make you actually go through all this, but I wouldn't. I mean, what I mean is, I'd make you roll for the research, but otherwise, yeah, just send the reports. Anyway, Pact of the Living Pact. Huh. You gain the Force Pact action. In exchange, this and any other pact you may have made seek longevity. Whenever you become dying 3 or higher, all of your pacts abandon you and flee to the nearest safe space. You can sense the direction at all times, and if you find them, you regain all your pacts. Once per hour, you force a temporary pact on both yourself and another creature you can see within 60 feet. Choose attack, move, manipulate, or concentrate. The target must attempt a will save. Success, nothing happens. Failure, if you or the target use an action with the chosen trait within the next minute, they take 10d6 mental damage, and the pact ends for both of you. On a critical failure, it's as failure, except the target takes the damage if either of you use an action with the chosen trait. Ah, okay. Oh, they have to critically fail. Okay. This can be very, very bad if you choose the... If you choose the wrong thing, this can be very bad for you. But if they crit fail, then it's actually really, really good. I can see why this is level 18. It doesn't even have the incapacitation trait either. That's pretty darn good. Yeah. I can see why this is a level 18 feat. Alright. Moving on. Wrath of the Righteous. Okay, this is, yeah. Talent Envy, which is the rare skill feat. Expert in performance and virtuosic performer. This is clearly meant for bards. You give off a bedazzling glow with every performance, sparking feelings of severe envy and inadequacy in those who compare their talent to yours. Once per minute, when you succeed at a check using a type of performance that you chose for virtuosic performer, you can attempt to demoralize an onlooker of your choice within 60 feet as a free action. If you quickly succeed on your performance check, improve the degree of success for your demoralized check by 1 step. Huh. So you get to make a performance check. Huh. So that means you get to do your performance thing, and you get to demoralize. Yeah, I can see why this is rare. Yeah. This is really, really good, actually. Yeah. Performance items. I'm not going to go over that. Cathedarian actor. Okay, the dedication. You have to be trained in performance, and you're from Taldor or have attended the academy. You studied Tolden theory, theater, and learned to embody various roles to a sublime degree. You become trained in society and theater lore. If you're already trained in either, you become an expert in that skill instead. In addition, when you attempt a deception or performance check to portray a famous figure, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus on the check. This is +3 at 10th level and +4 at 17th level. However, you don't gain this bonus while impersonating a figure whose death is common knowledge, as determined by the GM. Okay. Animal actor. You need the dedication. Okay. You participated in a performance of The Leaping Lion, a play focusing on Syracuse, the animal-loving adventurer who traveled with his ape Mardu and remains a favorite hero among town and youth. You become trained in nature and a lore skill related to a particular type of animal commonly used in show business, such as canine lore, ursine lore, or primate lore. If you were already trained in either, you become an expert in that skill instead. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to all checks to command an animal and recall knowledge about creatures with the animal trait. You can use your chosen animal lore to command an animal of that type. Okay, so if you choose ursine lore, then you can use that to command an animal. If it's a bear. Huh. If it's a bear. Heaven's Step Offense. You need the dedication. Your melee strikes reduce a creature to 0 hit points. It's a reaction. Your lessons from the stage find life in the stories, mercy, and fearlessness of Grand Prince Daenerys III. With a theatrical flourish, the strike becomes non-lethal, and you can stride up to half your speed in a straight line toward another enemy. This attention-arresting movement does not provoke reactions from enemies unless they are immune to mental effects. Interesting. This could be useful if you want to capture somebody or capture a bunch of people. Yeah. Clean take. You need the dedication. You fail, but don't critically fail, a deception check or performance check to portray a famous figure. Thanks to many hours of rehearsal, your acting skill is infinitely adaptable. Even when your impressions don't quite hit the mark, you're able to refine and tweak your performance on the spot. Re-roll the triggering check and take these second results. And you can keep doing this. Wow. Yeah, okay. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, you can keep using this. You do have to take the second result, though. So if it's worse, then you're out of luck. But, yeah, okay. But if you roll that 1, might as well use this. Yeah, okay. Monumental Maestro. Need the dedication. You studied the moving compositions of Andreas Romug, a legendary maestro whose Shining Crusade anthems live on in the music for the play Echoes of Glory. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to performance checks to perform with a musical instrument or sing. If you succeed, the DC of subsequent diplomacy checks against any creature who observed your performance are reduced by 2 for the next 24 hours. Good out of combat thing. Yeah. It's also good for certain skill feats like Bone Mow. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, you need the dedication and you have to be unarmored for stunt performer stance. You clear your mind, regulate your breathing, and prepare your muscles for in a stance inspired by Kemen Katon, a graduate of Zimar's mastery of the seven forms. Kemen controversially shunned monastic life and instead used his martial skills as a death-defying stunt performer, winning acclaim for exhibitions that saw him survive great falls and escape deadly traps. While in this stance, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to reflex saving throws and skill checks to escape, as well as resistance 2 to all physical damage. This isn't that great for teamwork, to be honest with you. It only affects you. Yeah, I don't like this one too much. Sympathetic portrayal. You need the dedication. You portrayed Grand Prince Stefan III in The Fall of the Troubled King, a production dedicated to the life and times of the paranoid Taldan ruler who violated resistance to new policies on succession, kicked off the war for the crown. Your acting won rave reviews for recasting Stavian's paranoia and political machinations in a sympathetic light. And you've learned to apply these subtle techniques outside the stage to win others over. Whenever you succeed a deception or performance check to portray a famous figure, you can select one creature within 60 feet who observed your performance. As long as this creature isn't hostile, its attitude toward you automatically improves by 2 steps. If it's hostile, it's stupefied 2 for 1 minute as it tries to reconcile its desire to harm you with its newfound sympathy for you. Good against spellcasters for sure, and can be extremely useful outside of combat. Yeah, I like this one too. Bleak Humorist. Once per day, and the trigger is you are reduced to 0 hit points by a creature within 30 feet, but not immediately killed. You've watched dozens of morbid comedies depicting Beldam I, Taldar's prankster emperor, whose wife accidentally killed him when she struck him with a marble bus after he jumped out from the curtains to frighten her. If you're reminded of this depressing yet perversely comical tale whenever you are near death, and your final moments of consciousness, you murmur a bleak joke to the creature who reduced you to 0 hit points. The creature must attempt a will save against your class DC. On a success, the target is distracted by giggles and can't use reactions until the beginning of your next turn. On a failure, it can't use reactions until the beginning of your next turn and is slowed 1. On a critical failure, they also immediately fall prone. And it's a once per day thing. This is pretty good. I like this one a lot. Yeah. I mean, this is basically, there's a spell that does pretty much this exact same thing. Yeah, but this is a feat you can use once per day, even if you're not a spellcaster. That's pretty good. Yeah. Of lions and worms. You still here, Zarquan? Hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay. You starred in a war drama depicting the first Emperor Talder, this battle with the Grogisant. I think that's how you pronounce that. A massive six-eyed lion, and the King Eater, a mighty dragon. To prepare for the role, you spent weeks in the wild observing and occasionally scrapping with any creature that resembling Taldaris' legendary foes. I'm done with Packbinder, yes. Yeah. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to saving throws from effects against effects from beasts and dragons. Not that useful, to be honest. Unless you're running into that type of thing a lot. It's a good defensive option if you're running into that a lot. But otherwise, you're probably better off picking something else. Alright, you need the dedication. You can use it once per hour on Ruthless Orator. You're once cast in the role of Deruler the 12th, one of Taldor's most ambitious rulers who slew his cousin to seize the crown, yet somehow still managed to convince the entire Elfin Guard to swear loyalty to him simply through his powers of oration. You attempt a performance check to launch into a powerful monologue, pulling lines from Doran Lear's playbook to win the respect of everyone around you, even your enemies. The DC of this check is a hard DC of your level. On a success, any hostile creatures within 20 feet take a -2 circumstance penalty to attack rolls and spell attack rolls that target you until the beginning of your next turn, and any allies within 20 feet are quickened until the beginning of your next turn. The additional action can be used only to strike or stride. Okay. So, you're lowering their attack rolls, but only against you. But the quicken thing from allies is really, really good. Really good. Yeah. I can tell why this feat is level 16. Definitely. But yeah, Zarquan, let me know what you thought of the Paxbinder stuff. All right, moving on. Yeah. We got a bunch of, okay, Mogambian wizards. Okay, School of Rooted Wisdom. Looks like you get Detect Magic, Alarm, Dispel Magic, Safe Passage, Mountain Resilience, Control Water, True Sight, Energy Aegis, and Quandary. And the school spells are Halcyon Mist and Call the Ten. Okay, this I definitely haven't looked at yet. In a moment of dire need, you call upon ancestral power to strengthen and sustain. A soothing mist gathers around the target, granting 1d8 temporary hit points and any one source of persistent acid, bleed, fire, poison, or void damage affecting it. If the creature has persistent damage from more than one source, you choose the one that ends. The mist lingers around the target, making them concealed until the beginning of your next turn, though this obvious concealment can't be used to hide. And it heightens well. Yeah. Good. Okay. Call the 10. The 10 magic warriors were a range of 30 feet and can target up to 10 creatures, including yourself. The 10 magic warriors were the first of Mogambian's students, and they come to your aid even now. An indistinct spirit appears near each target, each wearing different masks of the 10 warriors. The spirits then either strike their designated targets with magical energy, dealing each one 46 spirit damage with a basic fortitude save, or shielding them, granting the target resistance 3 to physical and spirit damage until the beginning of your next turn. You designate which targets are attacked and which are shielded. Interesting. So you can protect your allies and deal good damage to your enemies. But it doesn't heighten well. Every 2 ranks, the damage only goes up to like 1d6. The resistance goes up by 2, which is pretty nice actually, but it's every 2 ranks, so not great. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cascade Bearers. Okay, this is another. Okay. So, we got Telekinetic Projectile. We got Force Barrage, Mystic Armor, Telekinetic Maneuver. Levitate, Flicker, Telekinetic Hull, Curse Metamorphosis, Contingency, Protect Image, Pinpoint, and Detonate Magic. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. I remember these from. From that one. Yeah. Oh, I played a little bit of that Adventure Path, and I do remember these. Yeah. For Emerald Bows, we've got Summon Instrument, Charm, Disguise Magic, Revealing Light, Hypnosis, Confusion, Scouting Eye, Scrying, True Target, Disappearance, and Foresight. For the Rain Scribes, we've got Light, Mending, Summon Animal, Shape Wood, Cozy Cabin, Liminal Doorway, Unfettered Movement, Magical Passage, Summon Dragon, Chain Lightning, Planar Palace, Earthquake, and Metamorphosis. And for the Tempest Suns, we have Ignition, Breathe Fire, Fleet Step, Blazing Bolt, Fireball, Elemental Form, Fly, Wall of Force, Fiery Body, Monstrosity Form, and Implosion. Uzjanti, Daze, Mind Link, ventriloquism. I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but axes. Ibex harvest. Telepathy, mind probe. True speech, mislead. Retrocognition, hidden mind, phantasmagoria. Huh. Attendance masks. Oh, that's an item. Okay, well, yeah. Let's see. Storytelling spells. Demora's defense. It's arcane, so everything but divine, everything but occult. 120 feet, up to 3 creatures, sustain up to 1 minute. Demora Hume is considered one of the most first by most to be the first god caller, conjuring a god from the plane of water named Dizad to protect his town from the Mammoth Lord raiders. A lost story of this defense claims that Dizad appeared to be in 3 places at once, blocking the raiders' spears, swords, and torches. The intended lesson is that Dizad will overcome any barrier to protect the people of Sarkoris. This spell gives that intention physical form, allowing the caster to protect their people. When you cast this spell, a replica of the Eidolon Dizad appears in front of each of the targets, granting them a +1 circumstance bonus to AC and fire resistance 5. While the replica persists, a target can use the shield block action with the replica. The replica has hardness 15 or hardness 20 against fire damage. They can use this reaction to reduce the damage from any spell or magical effect, even if it doesn't deal physical damage. After a target uses shield block, the replica dissipates. The spell ends when you no longer sustain it, or if all 3 replicas have dissipated, whichever comes first. So you're basically giving 3 people a shield. That's pretty awesome, actually. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, I do like that a lot. It's uncommon, but yeah, okay. A 1-use shield is basically a shield that you can use once to block damage. That's pretty good. Yeah. 4 hunters. 1 action to 3 actions. The range varies. 1 or more creatures. This is a story of 4 evenly matched hunters who sought to capture a fallen star. Each hunter was known by the region they came from, and the spell focuses on one of their attributes. When you cast this spell, you must choose east, north, south, or west. East was steady and optimistic. The target gains 5 temporary hit points and +1 status bonus to athletics for 1 round. North was careful and cautious. The target can step as a free action and gains a +1 bonus to survival for 1 round. South was clever and cunning. The target becomes concealed and gains a +1 status bonus to stealth for 1 round. West was bold and competitive. The target gains a +10-foot status bonus to their land speed and a +1 status bonus to athletics for acrobatics for 1 round. Okay, well, that is actually pretty good. Yeah. Let's see. For 1 action, it's only yourself. For 2 actions, it's 1 ally within 30 feet. For 3 actions, it's all allies within 30 feet. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, depends on which one you pick here, depends on what you're wanting to do, but yeah, this can be very good for a lot of parties. Depending on what you pick for the effects. Ibex Harvest. 1 to 3 actions. Varies. One or more creatures. Okay. In the tail Ibex Harvest, Ibex turn from the path of the warrior to the path of a farmer, bringing up their community by building up their community by working hard and sharing a bountiful harvest, not just with their humanoid neighbors, but also with the animal neighbors. Ibex initially focuses on distributing equally among the animals, but learns true equality requires knowing what each being needs. The number of actions you spend when casting the spell and telling the story determines its targets and effects. For one action, one willing target you touch gains 10 temporary hit points that last for 1 minute. For 2 actions, 2 willing targets within 20 feet gain 10 temporary hit points that last for 1 minute. For 3 actions, all creatures in a 10-foot emanation are affected. Choose one creature in the emanation to take 2d8 mental damage, while each other creature in the emanation gains 5 temporary hit points for that lasts 1 minute. And it heightens well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one's good too. Especially if you spend 3 action on the spell. It is a basic will save, but at least it does do damage in addition to giving all creatures 5 temporary hit points. Depends on when you use this, but this can be pretty good. I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but 1 to 2 actions. And 30 feet, 1 creature, and lasts for 1 minute. Folklore and tales surrounding the legendary hero are so widespread and well known that 100 lifetimes would not be enough to have accomplished everything she is reputed to have done. Nevertheless, the stories all contain a unifying theme of her martial prowess, despite the odds being stacked against her. For 1 action, you describe their signature axes and how she came to receive them. The target gets a +1 status bonus to attack rolls for the spell's duration. For 2 actions, for the spell's duration, when the target is damaged by a creature's attack, the target gains a +2 circumstance bonus to damage against that target for 1 round. Interesting. Yeah, this is pretty good too. Especially on something like a fighter. Yeah, fighter, barbarian. Yeah, this is really good to put on martial characters. Yeah. The Parrot's Whisper. It's on the Divine and Occult list. 30 feet, 1 creature, will save. The target must attempt a will saving throw. Parrot chatters about various random topics for 1 round and reveals no relevant information on a critical success. On a success, the parrot tells you the target's highest weakness at the start of your next turn. What do you mean? You got the time wrong. Oh, I see. How's it going? Oh, pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was 2 p.m. Central. Sorry about that. I hope I wasn't too confusing for you. Anyway, right now we're going over spells. And it's pretty nice, actually. Some of these spells are actually pretty nice. We're going over the Paris Whisper right now. Basically, they gotta make a will save, and on a critical success, uh, no relevant information. On a success, the parrot tells you the target's highest weakness at the start of your next turn. In the meantime, the parrot chatters about various random topics. On a failure, the parrot tells you the target's highest weakness immediately, but sticks around for one round to chatter. On a critical failure, the parrot tells you the target's highest weakness immediately, and you can ask the parrot one question. You might need to collaborate to the GM to narrow down the question. At the start of the turn, your next turn, the parrot answers the question truthfully. I'm not a huge fan of this one, simply because what if they don't have any weaknesses? You know? I mean, it's great if they critically fail, because then you can ask them stuff that you would roll recall knowledge for, like knowing what their lowest save is. But otherwise, if they don't have a weakness, this is completely useless as a spell. I mean, really, it is. So, I mean, it's okay. It's not great. It depends on what you're... Yeah, the parrot isn't great. No, you're right. Yeah, they don't have a weakness. This spell is completely useless. Alright, let's look at Queen's Rainbow. It's a 60-foot line. It's available to everyone but divine casters. Let's see. Creatures who enter or begin their turn in the rainbow space must succeed at a fortitude saving throw or become dazzled for 1 round. I'm not a fan of this one too, because this can really screw up your allies. Because, yeah, it's any creature that begins their turn or enters. So it's not great. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think? And you guys can hear me okay, right? I'm not too loud. Okay, good. Yeah, it's only dazzle. That's true. But, I mean, it is a 25% your damage is gone. So, I mean, you know. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a kind of a low level wall. You're right. Okay. Renage's Circle. It's arcane and primal, 30 feet, 1 creature, fortitude. Duration varies. Okay. Let's see. At the start of... By telling this tale, you... Okay, when you cast this spell, each square adjacent to the target becomes difficult terrain from the sudden eruption of plant life for 1 minute. The target also attempts a fortitude save. Let's see. On a success, the target is clumsy 1, as their feet are bound within stone. This condition lasts until they move from their current position. On a failure, they're clumsy 2 and immobilized, as their legs are encased in rock. The clumsy condition lasts until they move from their current position, and they can escape from being immobilized with a check against your spell DC. The target is clumsy 2 and restrained, as nearly their entire body is covered in basalt. The clumsy condition lasts until they move from their current space, and they can escape from being restrained with a successful check against your spell DC. Oh my god, this is really good. Really good. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing is, if they fail, Immobilize is off guard, which means they're taking a -2 on their, and so is restrained. So yeah, so they're clumsy 2, which is a status. Oh, absolutely, this is a good spell. Absolutely. This is a fantastic spell, actually. Yeah, I might have to use this on a character sometime. What, it's uncommon. Okay. Okay, so DM might let you use it, but this is an amazing spell right here. Yeah. Okay, Monastery of the Breaking Waves. Alright, so let's take a look here. Teachings. This might be where the new Magus Hybrid Study is. Dance of Perfection. Because I heard there was a new Magus Hybrid Study in here. Okay, well, we got new monk feats. Let's take a look here. Flood Stance. Yeah. 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 While in this stance, you hold your breath for 10 minutes and leave the stance if you stop holding your breath. You do not lose additional air if you attack, or critically hit, or critically fail a save. You still lose all remaining air if you speak, including to cast a spell. The only strikes you can make are Flood the River unarmed attacks. They deal 1d8 bludgeoning damage, are in the Brawling group, and have the non-lethal Trip, Unarmed, and Water traits. You don't take the normal penalty for being used underwater. They also gain the Forceful trait while you're underwater. The problem with this one is that you gotta hold your breath, which means you can't be in this stance forever. And it's good if you're underwater, because you have to hold your breath anyway when you're underwater. But yeah, and you don't take the penalty for being underwater. If you're in an underwater campaign, this is good. Otherwise, it's not great. Reflective Ripple Stance. You enter a fluid. You can make flowing wave attacks that deal 1d6 bludgeoning damage. They're in the Brawling group and have the Agile, Disarm, Finesse, Non-Lethal, Trip, Unarmed, and Water traits. While in Reflective Ripple Stance, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to Athletics to Disarm, Swim, and Trip. And you gain a +1 to Circumstance bonus against your Reflex DC to avoid being disarmed and tripped. Okay, this one is good. I like this one a lot. Yeah, it's not bad. You're right. It really is not that bad. Oh, and you can use it to disarm as well. Yeah, it's not bad. Student of Water. If you're underwater, you have cover against creatures outside the water. As soon as you meet the prerequisites for the Underwater Marauder and Water Sprint, you gain those feats. Okay. Decent. Not great, but decent. Waterfowl stance. You need monastic weaponry for this. Okay. Well, in waterfowl stance, the Danpada scimitar, talwar, and Zulfikar gain the monk traits for you. When you tumble through a creature's space or leap over a creature while wielding one of these weapons, you can deal that creature 1d6 slashing damage. It's 2d6 if you have a greater striking rune, and 3d6 if you have a major striking rune. This could be useful, but, I mean, if you're using monastic weaponry, this is good, but... Oh, and you also gain access to these weapons, too. Okay, Ribble Stance, there are 2 additional feats that go with it. Ah, okay. Well, we'll look at that in a second. But yeah, okay. Divert Stream Flow. You're damaged by... It's a reaction that's triggered when you're damaged by a melee strike by a creature in your reach. Okay, you get to reposition them as a reaction, and then you get to step as a free action. That's actually not bad. Yeah, I like that too. Okay, let's see here. Tributary Circulation, 1 or 2 actions. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to will saves and saves against poison until the beginning of your next turn. If you spend 2 actions on it, you also attempt a flat check to end persistent damage you're suffering, reducing the DC to 10 as if you gain the benefits of assisted recovery. That's not too bad. That's not too bad either. Culvert's Collapse. You are in flood stance and were damaged by an enemy. Okay. For 1 action, make a flooded river strike against an enemy who dealt you damage in your previous turn. That strike deals initial 1d8 persistent bleed damage. Not bad, but could be better. Okay, here is one of the feats that requires reflective ripple stance. Okay, the trigger is, it's a reaction, and the trigger is you've been hit by a physical melee attack by an attacker you can see that's in reach, and you're in the stance. Okay. After the triggering action is done, step. You must end this step within the attacker's reach. You can attempt an athletics check to disarm or trip the attacker. Okay, that's really good, actually. Yeah, just reposition yourself and you get to disarm or trip them. That's awesome. As a reaction. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah. Snakebird's Shadow. You're in waterfall stance. Okay. And wielding a monk weapon from the sword group. Make a melee strike with the required weapon against each enemy in a 15-foot line as razor-sharp shadows of water surge from your blade. Each attack counts towards your multiple attack penalty, but you do not increase your penalty until you've made all the attacks. Huh. Okay. That's actually pretty decent. Yeah. I like that a lot as well. Yeah, because you get to make a bunch of different attacks and not take a multiple attack penalty. That's really, really good. Yeah. I like that a lot. It makes the monk an actual threat. And it's 1 melee strike. Yeah, it's okay if you can get 3 people to line up. That's 3 potential attacks at full map. Yeah, yep. If you can get them to line up, absolutely. Wake to Strife. A creature within your reach is prone or swimming. Yeah, even if it's only 2, it's not bad. Yeah. You summon the explosive power of a geyser beneath a foe. The required creature. Oh, okay. So they have to be prone or swimming. They have to make a fortitude save against your class DC. And sicken 1 on a success, sicken 2. And if you have a free hand and they aren't larger than you, then you get to grapple them as a free action. And on a critical failure, if you succeed, you actually critically succeed. This is dope. This is dope right here. You get to sicken them and you have a chance to grapple them. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, it takes 2 actions, but still. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, this one I would definitely recommend taking. Yeah, you just yeah. I mean, granted, you are going to take the best way to use this is trip them and then use this. The best part about this is it doesn't have the attack trait. I'm not sure if the grapple has the attack trait, but this does not. So at the very least, you can trip them, then use this. So they're taking essentially a -4 to their, if they fail against this. If they fail against this, then they're essentially taking a -4 to their AC. And you can make a grapple check as a free action, meaning you can keep them on the ground. Okay, so you are going to take that -5, but this is still a really good feat. I like this a lot. Especially if you can get somebody else to trip them. Yeah. This is good. That feat is good. Let's see. Lessons of Flux once per hour. It's a reaction that's triggered when you fail a skill to grab, reposition, shove, or trip, or tumble through. This is another good one. You reroll the check and take the second result. If it still fails or critically fails, you can ask a question about the creature you were attempting to do all those to, as if you had succeeded a check to recall knowledge. Really good. So basically, you either get to re-roll. So basically, you get to re-roll, and even if you fail, you essentially get a free recall knowledge that you don't even have to roll for. That is really, really good. My God, these monk feats are amazing. A lot of them are. Wave dashes rocks. If you have a creature grabbed or restrained, yeah. Free recall knowledge if it fails. That's really good. Yeah. Make a melee strike against the required creature, after which they are no longer grabbed or restrained by you. This strike must be made with an unarmed attack or a monk weapon. If you deal damage with this strike, the target is knocked prone and clumsy 1 and enfeebled 1 until the end of your next turn. So you gotta grapple them, and then you make an unarmed attack, and they're no longer grabbed, but they're still off guard, and they're clumsy one and enfeebled one. My God, these monk feats are amazing. These monk feats are absolutely amazing. I love like 90% of these. Oh, here's the second one that goes off reflective ribble stance. Okay, it's once per minute, and you got to be in the stance. Make an athletics check to trip each creature on the ground in a 10-foot emanation. These all count towards your multiple attack penalty, but the penalty doesn't increase until after you've made all the attacks. I think you did, yes. I think you did, yes. I'm not a huge fan of that one, to be honest with you. I don't know. Well, let's see here. Let's look at. It's not that one. It's not that one. But this wave spiral is actually really good if you've got a bunch of enemies around you. Yeah. But you do have to be careful about this because you can hit your allies with this. So it's not great, but I mean, granted, you're basically, I mean, you can trip up to, well, let's see here. It's a 10-foot emanation, which means you could trip up to up to 8 creatures, which is downright nuts. I mean, you're never going to hit that many creatures with this, but even if you're just hitting like 2 or 3 creatures, you can attempt to trip. Even if you just trip 2 or 3 creatures, that's amazing. Yeah. I do really like the reflective ribble stance just because of the 2 feats that you can get because you have that stance. Yeah. The next time I roll a monk, I am definitely building around that stance. Assuming I roll for a stance monk. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's see. Resurgent Maelstrom Hybrid Study. Here we go. Okay. Your attacks with improvised weapons do not take the normal -2 item penalty. While you wield an improvised weapon, streams of water flow from your limbs to surround the weapon, gaining the water trait. These improvised weapons have a minimum damage die of D6, D4, or D4 if the improvised weapon is agile. Effects that apply runes to your unarmed attacks, like Runic Body or Hand Wraps of Mighty Blows, also apply these runes to your non-magical improvised weapons. The improvised weapon also gains an additional trait, depending on how many hands it takes to wield. One-handed backstabber trait. If it would already have the backstabber trait, double the amount of additional damage. A two-handed improvised weapon gains the forceful trait. If it would already have the forceful trait, treat the number of weapon damage dice the weapon has as one higher for the purposes of calculating the additional damage. While you're in Arcane Cascade stance, you can manipulate the water around your improvised weapon, making it cut like a knife or bash with the force of falling rocks. The weapon gains the versatile traits for the types of damage it doesn't normally deal. For instance, an improvised weapon that normally deals bludgeoning damage gains the versatile P and versatile S traits. The complex spell is Turbulent Tide, and the studio spells are Water Walk, Aqueous Orb, and Unfettered Movement. Aqueous Orb is actually a very good spell. I've used that in games to great effect. Yeah. Turbulent Tide. Let's look at that. You cause the sheath of water and the improvised weapon it surrounds to surge outward with stupendous force as you attack. Make a melee strike with your improvised weapon. The weapon then breaks. Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. The weapon breaks, and each creature adjacent to you must succeed the Fortitude saving throw against your spell DC or be pushed 5 feet away from you, 10 feet on a critical failure. You can stride after the target of your strike if they are pushed, but you must move the same distance and in the same direction. If the item has a hardness greater than your level, or if it's an artifact, cursed item, or other item that's difficult to break or destroy, it doesn't break, and adjacent creatures don't need to attempt fortitude saves. Okay, alright. So basically, you can push them back if you want. This does work on allies, but it's only pushed. It's a good way of getting allies out of melee range as well. Yeah, or towards enemies. So they don't have to spend an action on their turn moving. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah. Let's look at new Mega's feats. Okay, Convergent Tides. Arcane Cascade. That's what it requires. Which every Megas gets. While you're in Arcane Cascade stance, you ignore difficult terrain caused by water, such as walking along a flooded path or swimming in rough water. That's not going to come up near as much as you think. Shattering Spell Strike. Okay, here we go. You're in Arcane Cascade stance and wielding an improvised weapon. You intentionally channel a rampaging cascade of magic through your weapon, breaking it to deal more damage. Make a spell strike against the target with your improvised weapon. If the attack hits, it deals an additional 2d6 force damage as your improvised weapon breaks. If the spell used with a spell strike wasn't a cantrip or focus spell, increase this additional damage by the spell's rank. If the item has hardness greater than your level or is an artifact, okay, it's difficult. That's difficult. If it's an item that's difficult to break, it doesn't break and you don't deal additional damage. Okay, well, that's not bad. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work for a GM to be able to it's going to take a lot of work for the GM to make this hybrid study useful. I mean, they pretty much have to tell you what's in the room, which is okay, but it's a lot more work for the GM if somebody's playing this. Okay, surface tension if you're wielding a broken weapon. Okay, so it basically allows you to suppress the broken condition on a broken weapon, and the weapon deals an amount of bludgeoning damage equal to twice the number of weapon damage dice. This can't be changed to any other type. It gains the deadly D8 trait. If it would already have that trait, the damage die increases by 1 step or 2 1d8, whichever is higher. Oh, yeah. Yeah, bar fight. Yeah. The first time you use this weapon to spell strike or get a critical success on an attack with it, the weapon is completely destroyed. And again, if it's got hardness equal to your greater than your level, or is difficult to break, this ability only lasts until the end of your turn. Huh. Okay. Huh. Alright. Cross current counter. It's a reaction. You become grabbed or restrained by a creature. You attempt an athletics check to grapple the triggering creature, even if it's outside your reach and you don't have a free hand. If you succeed, you remove the triggering condition, and the tendril of water pulls the creature adjacent to you before dissipating. Okay, this can be really good against creatures that have reach. Really good against creatures that have reach. Because you pull them towards you and you get out of the grapple. That's really good, actually. All right, moving on. Whirlwind's Pull. Again, requires that hybrid study. One action. You interact to pick up an untended object within 15 feet. You could use an improvised weapon, and then cast a spell that is a cantrip or complex spell that takes one action to cast. Okay. So you get to pick up a weapon, something you could use as an improvised weapon, and cast a spell that is a cantrip or a complex spell that takes one action to cast. Wait, does that mean that if you cast a cantrip, it can take two actions? Because if so, that's amazing action economy. If it's just one action, it's still good action economy, but there's not many cantrips that on the arcane list that really really take one action. I mean, I guess there's guidance, but now the conflict spell, I believe, takes one action. It does. Okay, so basically this is basically used to get your improvised weapon and then cast the conflict spell. Okay. That's pretty good. It's good action economy. Fantastic action economy, actually. Maelstrom Flow. It requires the new hybrid study. Okay. You're wielding an improvised weapon is the requirements, and it's once per hour. Improvised weapons, the effects of astral, corrosive, extending, or frost ruin for 1 minute, after which the item is destroyed. If the item... Okay. Yeah. The effect doesn't count against the number of property runes a weapon can have based on its property rune, potency rune, but a given weapon can only have one application of Maelstrom Flow at a time. Okay. So this is your improvised weapon gets a property rune, which is decent. Yeah. I just wish it had it just had like Ghost Touch or something on here. Yeah. But it's 1 minute, which is pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Threefold Limb. It's a touch spell, one creature. It goes against AC. Okay. You temporarily transform one of your limbs into water, taking the form of ice, liquid water, or steam as you desire. Make a melee spell attack roll. On a hit, the target takes 2d6 damage. The type of damage dealt and any additional effect depend on the form you chose. On a critical hit, double the damage. On ice, they take a minus 10-foot status penalty to speed until the start of your next turn. And it has the cold trait. Liquid water. It deals bludgeoning damage Yeah, that is a problem. That is definitely a problem. The limb deals bludgeoning damage, and you can reposition the target up to 10 feet. That's pretty good. Steam. The limb deals fire damage, and the steam clings to the target, making all creatures concealed to them until the start of your next turn, and or they perform an interact action to wave the steel away. The spell against the fire trait, and it heightens well. Yeah, 2d6 per spell rank. That's pretty good. That's definitely pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, the every weapon you pick up is destroyed unless you can find something that has hardness higher than your level. But then you don't get the bonuses, so yeah. But it's still a decent hybrid study. Yeah, it would actually be pretty fun to play because you basically destroy everything you touch. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Unbroken Penelope Ply. It's a touch spell, one broken weapon that is unattended or held by a willing creature. It lasts for 1 hour and takes 2 actions to cast. Images of similarly... Let's see here. The weapon gains the non-lethal trait during this time. Okay. The weapon's wielder can apply the weapon's item bonus to attack rolls, if any, to their diplomacy checks. If the weapon would be damaged or broken again, this spell ends. Not a great. I mean, you can use it to suppress the broken condition for an hour, which is honestly, if this was a shield, this would be amazing. But unfortunately, it's a weapon, and that means that there's not a whole lot of ways to deal damage to weapons, and that's the issue with this. If this was a shield, this would be amazing. But it's a weapon, so you know. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got a new spell. Annuation of the Outer Gates. You announce yourself in the name of certain grim pacts that predate moral life. This is a compulsion. This is not a compulsion, but rather an invitation of sorts. The invitation is understood by creatures in the area with telepathy, and any who understand Aklo, Chthonian, Empyrean, Fey, or Utopian. Those who accept the invitation cannot take any hostile action against others who agreed until 10 minutes pass and can communicate telepathically with them during that time. This effect ends immediately if any hostile action is taken against the creature that agreed. Those creatures who decline the choice or do not understand must attempt a will save. Critical success, nothing happens. Success, frightened 1. If it understood the invitation, The frightened status doesn't decrease at the end of the turn in which the damaged creature that agreed to the invitation. Failure is frightened 2, and the critical failure is frightened 3. It's not bad. I mean, frightened 1 is still pretty good. And yeah. And it doesn't go down. That's fantastic. Yeah, I can tell why this one is a rare spell. Absolutely. And then we have Performer's Treatment. It's also a rare spell. You got to be expert in medicine and expert in performance. You can wear a healer's toolkit as part of any costume or disguise. Creatures will generally only notice the toolkit if they use a seek action and perceive at a perception check against your performance DC. In addition, you can realize at the last moment when you should be pretending to avoid doing. You can realize at the last moment when you should just be pretending to avoid doing any lasting harm. When you critically fail a medicine check to administer first aid, treat disease, treat poison, or treat wounds, you can attempt a performance check against the patient's perception DC. On a success, your critical failure at the medicine check becomes a failure. Okay. Alright, cool. That's actually decent. Yeah. So basically, this is a chance to undo a critical failure, which we all know what happens when you critically fail on a medicine check. So, that's actually really good. Can definitely tell why that's Okay, Lipstated Surgeon. The only other feat that's not here is no, I created you, which isn't Guns and Gears. Okay, so you got to be trained in medicine and you got to have attended this university to take this dedication. You become an expert in medicine. You successfully administer first aid to stabilize a dying creature that doesn't yet have the wounded condition. It regains 2d8 hit points. This healing increases by 10 if you're a master of medicine, and another 10 if you're legendary. When you successfully administer first aid to stop bleeding, the target rolls the flat check twice and takes the better results. Yeah, Okay, so the problem with this is that it only works the first time they go down. After that, they do get the wounded condition and you can't use this anymore. Which is okay. Medic is better. In my opinion, the medic dedication is better. Let's see. Enlightening Life. It requires a dedication. Once per 10 minutes, you're wearing or holding a healer's toolkit. Enlightening there is life. You can put that to practical use. You have integrated a miniature Stasian coil into your healer's toolkit. You can use the coil to gently shock a willing or unconscious ally within your reach who gains 2d4 temporary hit points from the jolt. These temporary hit points last for 1 minute. The temporary hit points increase by 1d4 at 8th level and every 4 levels after. A creature that has resistance or immunity to electricity is immune to this ability. And a creature that received temporary hit points from lightning life is temporarily immune to it for 24 hours. So far, I still like Medic better. Okay, Rise my creature. You gain a prototype construct companion pieced together from corpses and animated by chemicals or Stasian technology. You can use medicine in place of crafting to repair your construct or rebuild it if it's destroyed. Your creation has an affinity for lightning that brought it to life. When your construct companion takes electricity damage, it gets a +1 circumstance bonus to its athletic skill until the end of its next turn. Although coils or alchemical residue make it obvious to you and those with similar training that your creation is not undead, others must generally succeed at a DC 15 crafting, medicine, or religion check to verify those claims with recall knowledge. Okay, this might actually be worth it. So you basically get, essentially, that's exactly what it is. It is essentially Frankenstein's monster. Artery map. When you strike an off-guard creature with a weapon from the knife group, you deal 1d6 persistent bleed damage. This increases to 1d10 when you're legendary in medicine. Persistent bleed damage is okay. It's not great. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that feat. Let my creature live. Okay, this requires Rise my creature. Okay. You continue to tinker with your... Okay. Your construct companion becomes an advanced construct companion. During an encounter, even if you don't use the command a minion action, your construct companion can still use one action on your turn that round to stride or strike. Okay. This is essentially... Okay. This is the advanced version. Okay, sure. Beautiful knife work. Requires a dedication and master in medicine. You perform surgical adjustments to disguise a willing ally or your construct companion. This counts as preparing a disguise to impersonate, taking 10 minutes and requiring a healer's toolkit instead of the disguise kit. The DC to see through the deception with Seek is your medicine DC, unless the disguised character's deception DC is higher. If the target directly interacts with someone while disguised, they gain a +2 circumstance bonus to their deception check. You can reverse this effect with another 10-minute surgery. The disguised character can end it as a free action when they receive any healing effects. Okay. Good out of combat thing, but otherwise not that great. Behold my creation. Okay, incredible construct companion now. Alright. Makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Plastic surgery in 10 minutes. Yeah. Okay, Stacy in charge. Charging a living body with electricity may seem like a bad idea, but you know better. When a creature gains temporary hit points from your enlightening life, they gain the quicken condition until the start of your next turn. They can use the extra action only for stride and strike actions. Okay, that alone makes this archetype worth it. Just give them temporary hit points and the quicken condition. Oh yeah, that's definitely good. That is definitely good. Mm-hmm. Stand back, I'm a doctor. The dedication and master in medicine are the requirements. You need to be holding healer's tools or wearing them and have a hand free, or a creature with a dying condition is in your reach. Or, okay, yeah. You have mastered technologies to aid those at the brink of death, even if they use dangerous Stasian technology. Attempt a medicine check on a dying creature as you deliver it a powerful shock. The DC is usually a standard DC of a level equal to the target. On a success, the creature's dying condition is reduced by 1, or 2 on a critical success. If this reduces the dying, the value of the dying condition to 0, the creature regains 2d8 hit plus 10 hit points. Its wounded value doesn't increase, and it can stand as a free action. Each creature except you adjacent to the target takes 8d6 electricity damage. Basic reflex save against your class DC or spell DC. Instead of attempting this save, a creature can step as a free action, and if they end this movement not adjacent to the target, they take no damage. Okay. This is good too. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if there's enemies around you. Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to like this more. The higher level feats are the ones that are good. Miracle of Science. Now your construct companion is Paragon. Okay. Alright. That's pretty decent. I think you can definitely combine this archetype with the medic archetype and for pretty good effect, actually. Yeah. For pretty good effect, actually. Let's see. Is there anything else to cover? Beseech the Sphinx. 30 feet, one target other than yourself, and it lasts for 10 minutes. You look at the great Sphinx constellation, wide of all cosmic guides, in favor of Venator, having them lend their insight to the target. Choose one skill and one type of saving throw. The target gains a +1 status bonus to those skill checks and saving throws for the duration. And the fourth is +2, and at 7th rank, it's +3. That's not too bad. Yeah, I like this too. Oh yeah, preventing the wounding condition is fantastic. Yeah. I'll have to look again and see if that's a once per day thing or if that's yeah. Buzzing servants. You summon a swarm of bees from the city of Axis that rapidly constructs genetic shapes from wax. The bees appear in an unoccupied space, building the structure of hexagons, squares, and decagons that fill the space. The wax shape has a hardness 1040 hit points, but also decays after 24 hours. When you sustain the spell, you can choose another unoccupied square in range that the bees move to and fill with wax shapes. Any amount of area or splash damage to the squares they're present in kills the bees, ending further construction. I don't know how that's really all that useful, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess you can use it to create walls. It would just take a long time. Yeah, I don't like this spell too much. We got a bunch of items. Coiling dance. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. That is very, very good. Okay, has no limits other than you gotta spend 2 actions on it. Okay, that's really good. Yeah. Okay, 30-foot emanation for 2 actions. Your allies in the area are filled with sacred energy, making their spells and attacks holy. Creatures or effects that would be unholy don't gain this benefit. When you cast or sustain this spell, you can choose an ally in the area that is grabbed, immobilized, or restrained. They can immediately use a reaction to escape, and they can use your occultism or religion modifier for the check instead of their unarmed attack, acrobatics, or athletics modifier if that would be better. Okay, this is another great one. Yeah. You're basically making all their attacks holy, which is great against fiends. And you're also getting them out of grabbed, immobilized, or restrained. This is really good for allies that don't have good athletics or acrobatics or unarmed attacks. Like spellcasters, for example. Because you're going to be high, because if you have access to the spell, then your religion or occultism is going to be high. Yeah. I like that a lot. Yeah. Disruptive transfer. You basically get to teleport to an empty space. You can see within your speed, within range, which is your speed, and if they're adjacent to you, then they have to make a will save or become dazzled for 1 minute. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's a great spell. All right. Oh, this is the new Rune Lord. Okay. Yeah, I knew this was here at some point. Okay. Let's see here. You have to be a wizard. You become trained in pole arms and spheres. Your proficiency with simple weapons increases. Your proficiency in these weapons increases as well. You also get Thessalonian as a language. Instead of arcane thesis, you gain a personal rune. Your personal rune also affects your arcane bond. Huh, okay. You must select the School of Thessalonian Rune Magic as your arcane school, and you must choose one sin to specialize in. When you cast any curriculum spell or school from the School of Thessalonian Rune Magic, you do so simply by tracing runes of the power in the air. This removes the need to speak incantations aloud. When you refocus, you do so by contemplating or indulging your sin. Each sin is opposed by 2 others. The incompatibility of these sins means that casting magic philosophy appropriate to those opposing schools, as represented by each school's anathema, interrupts your personal connection to your own sin and personal rune. If you violate your sin's anathema, you lose the benefits of your personal rune, and whenever you attempt to cast a curriculum spell or school spell, you must succeed at a DC 15 flat check or the spell is lost. The disruption lasts until you complete an atone ritual. Unlike a normal atone ritual, Arcana can be used for both the primary and secondary checks. Your curriculum spells, including spells of your own sin, never violate this anathema, sometimes providing alternatives to prohibited magic. You gain the advanced school spell as a bonus feat at 8th level. Gain the advanced school spell for the School of Thessalonian Rune Magic. Once you begin your studies of sin magic, there is no turning back from its allure. Okay. Alright. Okay. So, unlike other wizards, some of your curriculum spells may be spells that don't typically appear on the arcane spell list. You can still cast these spells as arcane spells. The unified knowledge of sin bridging the gap between disparate magics. Detect magic, mystic armor, runic body, runic weapon, sure strike, dark vision, see the unseen, clairaudience, veil of privacy, clairvoyance, mind probe, sending, scrying, true sight, contingency, spell riposte, unrelenting observation. Sorry about that. See soul and foresight. Personal rune well. Okay. Now let's see here. So for envy, the anathema is use magic to cause harm with the elements or void. Shield, tangle, vine, schadenfreude, enfeebled, dispel magic, stupefy, earthbound. Oh, see soul is normally 9th? Oh, okay. That's pretty cool then. Yeah. Thief of Fortune, Containment, Outcast's Curse, Banishment, Grisly Growth, Curse Metamorphosis, Spell Rack, Duplicate Foe, Planar Seal, Quandary, and Detonate Magic. And the initial school spell is Cutting Eye. Okay, for Gluttony, it's use your magic to protect others or manipulate minds. Okay. Caustic Blast, Void Warp, Grim Tendrils, Summon Undead. Okay, I'm not going to go over all these, but let's look at some of these. Let's look at the actual Rune Lord feats. When you indulge in your sin to refocus, you can also exchange one spell you have prepared for one of your curriculum or sin spells of the same rank. Okay. That's actually decent. Yeah. I haven't really looked into the old version of the Rune Lord, but yeah. Embedded Aeon Stone. You spend one day attuning to an Aeon Stone and physically embedding it in your skin. While the stone is embedded this way, you gain the benefits of the Aeon Stone as if it were orbiting above your head, but it protects the stone from being noticed or stolen as easily. The Aeon Stone in your flesh must be invested to function as usual. You can use this activity to safely remove an embedded Aeon Stone in one day. Someone without this feat can attempt to surgically remove it safely by spending one day and succeeding at a DC 30 medicine check, or hastily by simply removing it from a corpse. Okay. Aeon Resonance. you gain the resonant power of one embedded Aeon Stone as if it were placed in a wayfinder. While you can embed multiple stones in your flesh, you gain the resonance power from only one embedded stone at a time, selecting each day when you gain your daily preparations. At 8th level, you can take this feat again, and you can do up to 4 instead of 1. Okay. Yeah, Aeon Stones can be really good, actually. Yeah. Rod of Rule. You gain the critical specialization effects of your arcane bonded weapon. In addition, when you critically hit a creature with your arcane bonded weapon, they begin to feel the pull of your sin, imposing a -2 penalty to saves against any of your curriculum spells or sin spells until the start of your next turn. Yeah, okay. Well, I need to look and see what the version of Rune Lord is like pre-remaster. Okay, the first big difference is it goes off since now instead of the schools. That's the big thing. So originally the spell, the Rune Lord Dedication, allowed you to get an extra cantrip and allowed you to add a additional spell of your chosen arcane school to your spell book. Yeah, that's already better. That's already better. Yeah, okay. Embedded Aeon Stone is basically the same. Polearm Tricks is now called Rod of Rule. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And it's whatever your weapon is, whether that's a spear or a polearm. Sinblade Spell. Okay, you have to be holding a weapon in the polearm or spear group. You punctuate your spellcasting with a flourish of the weapon, imparting physical force to your magic. If your next spell is a non-cantrip, sin, or curriculum spell that affects the target, affects a single target, and you either succeed on your attack roll or the spell or the target fails its saving throw, yeah, that too. Yeah. A wound in the shape of your personal rune appears on the target, dealing additional persistent bleed damage equal to the spell's rank in addition to its regular effects. Okay, so that's a new feat. That's not, yeah. Yeah, we got new feats too. Okay, that's cool. Sin Reservoir. Instead of being able to counter spells with counterspell only if you have the same spell prepared, you can counterspell it with any of your curriculum spells if the spell cast would violate your Sin's anathema. Yeah, that's definitely different. Okay, Orichalcum Bond. Rod of Rule. When your personal rune is placed on a weapon during your daily preparations, choose a weapon property rune up to your level that is common or you otherwise have access to. That rune is added to the weapon until your next daily preparations. This rune counts against your weapon's limit as normal. Okay, now let's look at the spells. All-encompassing hunger. 30 feet, 1 living creature. And it's for the gluttony sin. The target takes 1d6 void damage with a basic fortitude. If the creature is reduced to 0 hit points, it dies, and you gain temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt. These temporary hit points last for 1 minute, and it heightens well. Heightened by 1 rank, the damage increases by 1d6. Yeah, that's good. That's good, yeah. It's a good healing option. But only for you, sadly. Crescent Scepter. This one's for pride. You hold up any object which takes on an appearance of glowing regalia in the eyes of those who look on you, representing the political or religious institution most feared by each creature. If a creature attempts to attack you during the spell's duration, it must make a will save. Success, nothing happens. Or critical success, nothing happens. On a success, they become frightened 1. The penalty applying to its attack roll, and on a success, and on a failure, it's frightened 2. That's pretty good. Yeah, I do like that one a lot, and it's until the beginning of your next turn, though. Yeah, it's not bad. Cutting Eye, which is envy. You are the target of an attack or must attempt a saving throw against a spell. You're aware of the attack or spell. Okay. You are not off guard the attacker or spellcaster until the beginning of your next turn. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your AC against the triggering attack, or a +2 circumstance bonus to the triggering save. Not bad. It's a good defensive option, but isn't great. If you could put this on somebody else, it would be fantastic. But Heart's Hook. You drive 2 creatures toward the fating meeting. It requires a will save 2 creatures within 120 feet. Each will be compelled towards the other, but you can elect to have one automatically succeed on a saving throw. On a success, the creature is unaffected. On a failure, the creature must spend its first action on the next turn to approach its partner. It can't delay or take any reactions until it has obeyed this urge. On a critical failure, the target has to use all of its actions on its next turn. That's really good, actually. Yeah, just put this on, say, the barbarian and like one of the enemy spellcasters. Yeah, turning off guard to +2 AC is really good, but I think Heart's Hook is better. You can have the fighter automatically succeed, and then use this on like a spellcaster or something, so that enemies have to move towards so that enemy has to move towards the fighter. That's really good. Oh, and that is Lust. That's Lust. Let's see. Precious Gleam. That's just for greed. 60 feet until the beginning of your next turn. Temporarily enhance a weapon, replacing it with finer materials. On the next successful attack with that weapon, during the spell's duration, the attack deals an additional 1d6 precision damage. You can choose for the metal to become your choice of cold iron, silver, or steel, causing the attack to bypass resistances accordingly. This is any weapon, so this is good. This is good, yeah. Yeah. You can put this on the fighter's great, so you can put this on the barbarian's great axe if you want. Yeah, that's fantastic. Greed is very good. Reclined Appor. Slim 60 feet. One unattended object of light bulk or less. Okay. Walking over to the item to pick it up is so much effort. Whether it's your spellbook, reagent, or a glass of wine, it's simply more efficient to call it to your hand. You teleport the target to your open hand. If you don't have a free hand, it falls to the ground at your feet. At third, it can be an unattended object of 1 bulk or less. At fifth, you can do it within 120 feet. And at heightened, it's 120 feet, and you can target an unattended object of bulk 2 or less. That's for Reclined Appor. That is for sloth. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Vengeful Glare. 30 feet. 1 creature you can see. Fortitude. The gaze deals 1d. You gaze at them, and it deals 1d4 damage. It deals your choice of cold or fire damage and gains the appropriate trait. If you already dealt damage to the creature this turn, it also takes 1 persistent damage of the gaze's type. And okay, yeah, it heightens well. That's good. Personal Rune Well. This is for all sins. Okay. 30 feet, 15-foot radius, 30-foot tall cylinder for 1 minute. A circle of light caves its way across the ground as you create your very own rune well. Your personal rune flaring to life within it as you add your own sin to the 7 sins revered in the past. Whenever any creature casts this spell within your personal rune well, the well resonates with your choice of effects. 1. The rune well amplifies the power of your spells, as well as those of your allies. If the spell deals damage and doesn't have a duration, the well adds a status bonus to the damage equal to the spell's rank. The rune well punishes enemies foolish enough to attempt magic in your seat of power, firing arcane bolts at the spell's caster that deal 4d6 force damage with a basic reflex. If you cast Personal Rune Well a second time, the previous one vanishes. You can dismiss the spell. And it heightens well as well. That's good. So, it's great if you've got other spellcasters in the party, that first one. The second one is only good if you're going up against spellcasters. Yeah. So, it's a good spell. It's just you gotta use it in the right situations. Thessalonian spells. Okay. Chrysopoetic Curse. 7th rank spell. Arcane Divine. 1 creature within 30 feet. Will save. And lasts for 1 minute. Okay. On a critical success, nothing happens. On a success, the target's skin turns their armor and clothing potentially to gold. If the target is wearing any armor or clothing, they become encumbered. As success on a failure, but the curse extends to the target's held weapons and other gear. If the target is holding any weapons or other objects, they become clumsy 3, and the object's hardness is reduced by 5. Failure. The curse becomes even stronger, extending to the surrounding terrain. As failure, but if the creature is standing on a solid surface, the ground in their space transmutes itself into a quagmire of liquid gold. The gold is difficult terrain, is greater difficult terrain. If the creature leaves its square, or when the curse ends, any affected terrain returns to its original shape and substance, and the terrain in the new square transmutes to gold. Any objects that return to gold return to their previous form or original shape when they leave the target's possession or the spell ends. As long as the target did not critically succeed on their saving throw, 2d6 GP worth of gold flakes and dust are left behind as the curse recedes. Wow. This is actually really good. Yeah, I can tell why this is a 7th rank spell. Yeah, I mean, Clumsy 3 is insane. I mean, they either drop their weapon or they become Clumsy 3, making them easier to hit. Combine this with the off guard condition, and yeah, this is really, really good. Oh, and if they critically failure, it's just greater difficult terrain. Yeah. Hey, Relix. Hey, Rex. I'm glad you decided to show up. I think we're almost done here. Yeah, we're almost done. So, yeah, we're going over Thessalonian spells right now. You know, Devouring Void. Okay, so it's available to everyone but primal casters. 120 feet, 30-foot burst, and it's sustained for up to 1 minute. Countless tears in the space appear in the area like hungry mouths. When the spell is cast, and the first time each round is sustained, living creatures in its area take 78 void damage. A living creature using a move action to leave the area must succeed at a reflex save, or their action is disrupted at the end of the area. Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. That'd be great, man. Okay, Devouring Void is good as well, but you gotta be careful with this because you can't hit your allies with this, which is not great. But otherwise, it's pretty good, especially if you got a bunch of ranged attackers in the party. Another 7th rank spell, so yeah. Indolent Haze for 3 actions, 120 feet, 20-foot emanation, will save, and it lasts for 1 minute. Creatures in the area, when you cast the spell, must attempt a will save. Creatures in their turn in the area must also attempt a save. You can dismiss the spell. Critical success, nothing happens. Success, they lie down to rest, becoming prone. If they are already prone, then they drift off to sleep, becoming unconscious. On a failure, they're so happy that lying down that they can't attempt to stand or otherwise maneuver themselves off the ground until on their next turn, though they can crawl. Okay. On a critical failure, the creature immediately lies down and drifts off to sleep, becoming prone and unconscious. Any creature in the area who's already unconscious when you cast the spell, or who turn ends in the spell's area while they are unconscious, takes 64 spirit damage as their life force is drained away through their dreams. This damage does not automatically wake them. Oh my god. This spell is insane. So basically, on a success, they fall prone, which is already amazing. And if they're already prone, they're asleep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a great spell. This is also at 7. Okay, yeah. Yeah, these Thessalonian spells are really good so far. These, yeah. Love's Sacrifice. It's a reaction that triggered when you take damage that reduces you to 0 hit points. It's a 30-foot range, 1 creature, and will save. You cry out for aid. Okay. A target that generally loves the caster without magical compulsion, at their player's or the GM's discretion, fails to save. The creature moves adjacent to you, moving further than its speed if necessary, as the magic compels it to exceed its limits. It takes half the damage you would have taken, while you take the rest. If this would reduce you to 0 hit points, you're reduced to 1 instead. As success, except they take the full damage. If the damage reduces them to 0 hit points, they immediately die. This is a death effect. You can use this on enemies. Oh my god, you can use this on enemies. Oh, you're talking about Love's Sacrifice? Or are you talking about Indolent Haze? Rex. Yeah. If you're talking about Indolent Haze, absolutely. But sadly, we're not going to be playing anywhere near that level. Yeah. No. Let's see. For 7th level spells, you would need to be... Oh, boy. Let's see. 14th, 15th level? Yeah. The Indolent Haze. It would be, yes, but we're only playing at 5th level. You'd have to be 14th, 15th level to be able to cast that, sadly. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. Thief of Fortune. 2 actions, 60 feet. 1 beneficial spell effect currently affecting a creature with a duration of 10 minutes or less. Seeing another creature improve themselves with magic, you reach out and seize the benefits for yourself. Attempt a counteract check against the targeting spell effect. If you successfully counter the effect, the effect does not end. Instead, you gain the effects of the target spell as well. If you would not be a valid target for the spell, you do not gain any of its benefits. The spell's duration is halved as you siphon off magical energy for yourself. Each round that both you and the original creature are affected by the spell counts as 2 rounds when determining the spell's duration. You can dismiss the spell. Okay, well, this is decent. I mean, you can use this on an enemy. So this is not bad, but could be better. It's not bad. Let's see, the convocation. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, I've gone through all the player options in this book, I think. Yeah, I've gone through basically all the... Yeah. Okay, I've gone through everything. So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I need to check something here. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, remember, guys, the one shot will be. Just remember, guys. Just remember, guys. The one shot will be on the 15th at 8:30 Central Time on my second channel, Team Player Gaming Plus. But yeah, I'm basically done here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream, and let me know if there's anything I can do to make this better. With that being said, remember, guys, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems. Bye, guys.